Hello, I'm Mr. Shannon, and this is going to be a Kerbal Space Program career mode 100% speedrun. So, we're going to go fast. Let's start that countdown timer. Start the music. 3, 2, 1. First thing we're going to do is grab a couple contracts. And build a rocket. So the contracts we picked up were to gather some data, any data, and launch our first vessel. So I took most of the fuel out of that and limited the thrusts because I don't want it to go anywhere. Because it doesn't have a parachute and I don't want to wait for it to come back down anyways. I'm going to do 2 sets of science here, one on the pad, one just above it. So that's going to give us enough science to unlock the parts we need to go to space. We also need to upgrade mission control. So what I just used there and what I'm using here is known as the infinite money glitch. That's because if you cancel a contract while you don't have any money, there's no monetary penalty. I believe there is a reputation penalty. I don't care about that. So I use that to upgrade the astronaut complex, which allows me to do EVAs. And hopefully that'll be enough. Let's upgrade the launch pad. I don't need the launch pad yet. I will need it later. So this ship is going to space, but not to orbit. So here's the new science that I unlocked. So I'm going to do the new science both on the pad and flying just, under 18,000. And then I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to do full sets of science once I get above 18,000, which is going to be high atmosphere for Kerbal. And then I'm going to do full set of everything above 18,000. And that includes an EVA. So the atmosphere is thin enough up here. I can get by with this. And then get above 70, which is the Kármán line in KSP. One more set, science, and then get back down. So since I'm over the water, 650. So this is pretty much the only break time at all to breathe in the first half hour to an hour of this run. Okay, so that was into space. So now we got to build the mothership. However, before we can do that, I need new parts, which we'll get with the science we just did. Also need to upgrade the assembly building. So I need both the vehicle assembly and the pad upgraded to go to the MUN. And now I'm just going to take whatever is high value, which was just that one. So now it's time to build the mothership. Begin by adding a heat shield. So it's going to be a 3-stage rocket. I'm going to limit this to 70 so I don't burn up during the ascent. It's still going to get quite fiery. The last thing I need is landing legs. Pull that out. So you can do that with the shift key. Normally you can only move it along the body of the rocket, but if you hold shift you can pretty much move it anywhere you want. That's a feature, not a bug actually. So we're pretty much coming up on the single biggest reset part of this run. See, we got pretty hot there. And the reason that this is a pretty high reset part of the run is because we're going to do this whole mission without patch conics. Because if we wanted to use patch conics, we would have had to upgrade the tracking station, which would have required using infinite money using the more advanced form of the infinite money glitch, where you take some contracts, build a rocket, put it on the pad, cancel the contracts, then recover the rocket, which lets you get more money. So we're just going to circularize this orbit real quick. And then we're going to do something called burning at Moonrise, which pretty much everyone that's played KSP probably heard of. Most people probably done it at some point, which is if you burn prograde as the moon rises above Kerbal, then pretty much guaranteed lunar intercept. So we're going to do pretty much the same thing here. Only difference is we're going to burn ever so slightly up. And the reason for that is because instead of orbiting the mun, we want to intercept it. We want to actually hit the mun on the front half. Because if we can just come straight in, that'll save us some time. But because that is very precise, and we're doing the whole thing without any maneuver nodes or anything like that, that's the reason why this is a high reset point. So we're going to gather some science, fly over Kerbal. And hopefully we get an intercept. This looks exactly like what we want. Perfect. A little bit south of where I wanted to be, but that'll be okay. So this is probably the right time to explain what I'm doing when I get out and I take the data from the pod and basically store it back in by reboarding. So the point behind that is you can only store one crew report in the command pod at a time. You can store an infinite number of science. So by taking it out and then putting it back in, it gets stored in the just plain science slot. So low mun is below 60. So that's when we're going to do our next set of science. So we're on the clock here. Because we got to get this done in time to still do the burn. And we did. So we want to burn it around 25. There we go. So let this come down a little bit here. So that is not what you want to see, but we can fix it. So hopefully this won't tip. Please don't tip. Please don't tip. Please don't tip. Okay, we're down. So that is the worst landing I have done in quite a while. Let's hope that that was a fluke and not the way this whole run's gonna go. And there we just planted our first flag. And we're gonna go back to the Space Center because we still can't do surface samples yet. We need 451,000 to upgrade R&D, so we can. So landing on the mun gave us quite a bit, but we're also going to take basically anything here we can get a hold of that seems worth it. Because we also want a good amount extra. So once we arrive back, we'll have enough to get patch conics. Because I'm not going to Minmus without them. Well, that was Explore the Mun. I'm never actually going to do that contract, and it will never expire. But that's okay. So I think I should have enough here when I get back, so let's hope. So now we're going to go fly Jeb. And do our last bit of science, which is the surface sample. Okay, now we're done with the Mun. Come on. Get in there. Thank you. Okay. So we're gonna fly 90, which is this way. Now, I just noticed that I made a pretty big mistake there. I forgot to do a quick save. So hopefully this works. Otherwise, I could be in trouble. Looks good to me. Except I did that. I forgot to deploy my chute. See how, because of how it builds, only the Lunar rocket and the Minmus rocket end up with chutes that aren't on the same stage. And it confuses me no end. And causes me to keep messing up like that. So let's deploy that chute. 750. So that's maybe 20 seconds lost there. But we'll go with it. I would have really liked to have had that down a lot better, but it's okay. We'll gain and lose more than that through this run. So now we're going to get the stuff we need to go to Minmus, which is basically, we're getting more, some of the stuff we need to get there. We have everything we need to get there. What we're looking for is more science. And look at that, we had enough. Good. So we're going to build this Minmus ship, and we build it from the Lunar ship. And the only thing we're going to change is this top here. We're going to remove this fuel tank because we don't need it to go to Minmus. I'm going to add that there. Now we're also going to do something to the top here. We're going to use this experimental storage unit. And get rid of the goo. We're going to add the seismic sensor. And because we're going to do this, we're going to use this top of this for the entire rest of this run. We're going to take the time to set up action groups now. So we're going to set up action group 3 to delete the data, and this is important because if I accidentally end up with duplicates, then I'd have to manually get rid of them, which is a complete waste of time. So there we go. One to collect all, two to put in a thing, and that is it. That's Minmus. That's the Minmus build. The difference is that now we have maneuver nodes. So we're not going to use them. They're just not required currently. Okay, so now we're set up for 100-kilometer apoapsis. Get to 70, so we can warp there. So now we have a new feature with warp here. This is a great feature. And we have that because we unlocked patch conics and maneuver nodes. Okay. So now we just kind of eyeball it. Something didn't work out quite right that time, so I'm going to go ahead and do this with the maneuver node. I seem to be slightly ahead of where I typically am, or actually slightly behind. Okay, it looks like I can get it there, so that's good. I just want to make sure I can still get there because the mun is typically in a different place, which means that I must have did something a little faster or slower than normal. So we're going to warp to that maneuver node. Oh. So we're going to do this burn. We'll do it for full-time warp for the first half. For the first stage, I mean. And now we're going to clean it up. So, once this gets close, I'm going to go ahead and kill that and do it manually, which is what I was going to do the first time. So it's easier to fix that last little bit once I get out here a ways. It's a little bit more wasteful in terms of fuel, but trying to do everything from basically Kerbin's orbit means you have to be a lot more precise, which is at least partially the enemy is speed. So now we're going to warp there. So this isn't exactly where I'd like to be. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to return, but I'll work with it. So that is how fast it is to collect science now. So in Minmus, near space is 30 kilometers. So we're gonna warp down to 30. Do our science again. Again, very fast. We can now lock to retrograde, which is gonna make everything a lot easier. I just switch the surface. So, on Minmus, because of the light gravity, it is technically possible to get out of the ship and let it land behind you. But because I'm on a hill, I can't risk it. Okay, last bit of science there. EVA, get out. So we need to do an EVA report, take a surface sample, and there's our Minmus flag. Which is our second flag. So I should point out where my current splits come from, as I failed to get back on board. So the current split times you see there that I'm comparing against are for a segmented practice run. They're actually all from a single segmented practice run. So here's where I made my mistake, but I think I can fix it. Let's hope. So I'm going to want to go this way once I get out there. Yep, this will work. So I'm going to lock to retro. Yeah, I'm not there yet. That was just me leaving the sphere of influence. We're going to fall back towards Kerbal. And I'm going to reduce this to 700 because I'm over the ocean. Make sure I deploy that this time. Okay. So this is pretty good. Sub 30. That's pretty good. So now we're going to build one last ship. And to do it, we're going to need some more parts. Okay, so let's build that last. Let's go ahead and save right now. Let's go ahead and build that last ship. And we're going to throw away everything to there. We just don't need it. Okay. So to build this, need that. We need a skiff. Small fuel tank. So this probably looks pretty weird right now. So I'm going to put on some drogue chutes because we're going to be landing where there's an atmosphere. And if I get turned around and end up nose first, the drogue chutes are pretty much the only way I can save myself. I need some landing legs. Is that how many I normally use? I think I normally use 6. Yeah, that was too many. So we're gonna move those out, just like we did before. And because this won't work, we'll just shove that engine up in there. That's known as part clipping, and it's perfectly acceptable. It's also a feature. I need a landing a ladder. Which I'm going to rotate flat. And yeah, and I'm going to move it just there. Otherwise, it won't quite touch the ground. So now here's where I break the game. Find it. There it is. So I'm going to make 2 of those. Remove from symmetry. So let's set up this one first. And we're going to control that top engine. And we're going to drag that so that line is basically going to negative infinity. Set it over there. And now I'm going to click on this engine and set it to independent, and we have negative throttle. We're going to end up doing the same thing with this one in a second. So that's going to give us infinite fuel. That was originally found by a YouTube user who goes by the name of Mach56, I think is his name. And then showcased by Danny2462. Which is the same thing. This was also showcased by Danny2462. I don't want to do that yet. So Mach56 found it. Danny2462 showcased it. And then I made it more stable. Nope, didn't do it right. Okay, no. This one needs to be a little less. That's it. Nope. I had a system down to do this, but I'm having troubles. It can't work today. Nope. is not where I want to lose my time. Now, this one needs to go a little bit less. This one... Perfect. So normally, I'd do that in about half that time or less. Okay. We are good to go. So again, it was found by Mach56 on YouTube and then showcased by Danny2624. 2462. Sorry. And then thought I improved it, but that sure was not what I was looking like there. So we're gonna go to Duna, which means we need to warp to day 230, basically. And we want to take off on daytime because we're going out. We're going in, we take off at night. So what those two glitches did, that second one is going to give us a thrust multiplier. So these glitches together is infinite fuel thrust multiplier, or as I like to call them, IFTM. Okay. Open that, stick it down here. So, I'm running out of fuel. Oh, SAS. That's no problem. I'll just turn on infinite fuel. So we're going to rename this vessel as it goes up. So you can probably tell I'm a fan of the Expanse. Plus it's appropriate. This is our workhorse for this entire run, pretty much. How high are we? Oh, we're not there yet. Yeah, we're gonna time warp till we get up to an altitude which I can start burning sideways. Try to turn this into an orbit. It doesn't have to be an orbit. You're not going to do a full orbit, but I'd like it to be close to one. That's close enough. As we took off during the day, it doesn't have to be an orbit because we're going to just end up going to Duna anyways. We're actually going to Ike, not Duna, but... Okay. So I'm looking for something around 130-day transfer. Oh no, I did it right. Which that's not. Which might mess up everything else. So I'd really rather get it a little earlier. $138 days, getting there. Close enough. So now we're going to warp that maneuver. And then do that burn. We'll cancel that maneuver node and just wait until we get an encounter. We had one, and I messed it up. Perfect. So now we will focus on Duna and try to get that down just a tad. So I don't need to get it perfect, but I do want to get it reasonably close. Because right now it's too far to adjust once we enter the sphere of influence. So as long as it's close enough that I can do the adjustment to get to Ike after we enter the SOI, that's fine. Which that is. So now our next ship is going to be headed for Elu. So we're going to take the same ship. Are they the same? Yeah. This time with Val. And we're going to launch on day 263. So, as I should have said earlier, epilepsy warning. That'll be good enough. Let's get this out. And say yes. Take off. We're going to rename this one as well. Set this to 10 to Elu Bound. Appropriately ominous music kicked in right at the right time. And we're going to time warp till we get where we can try to burn for an orbit. Again, it's not really required to have an orbit. We just like something somewhat resembling one. I'm actually going to circularize this one because I kind of want... I took off a little too early in the day. So if you also notice, because this is Val's first mission, don't have a lot of maneuver locking right here. Or, not maneuver, but the SAS locking. So Val's going all the way out to Elu. I'm gonna hit it about over. Actually, I'm gonna hit it over here because we're not taking any normal. So we're not taking home and transfers. Was it just too slow? Perfect. Okay. And there's no real need to do a Homan because, again, game's broke at this point. We have infinite fuel and infinite fuel and plenty of thrust. There's just no reason to play by the game's rules anymore. So when this was discovered, I don't know, what, 2-3 months ago now? So I was working on a run without this. My goal was to try to take this from the 6 hours and 37 minutes that it's currently at to like 5 hours, maybe a little under. But when this glitch came out, I was able to completely reroute the entire game to be much more efficient. I think it's possible to get under 3 hours, but my goal today is 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 30 seconds, which would half the current record. And that current record did come out before this glitch was widely known. I think the glitch was found at about the same time. But no, my goal was largely to try to get more people to run this. I mean, I want to set a world record too, yeah. But I want a lot more people to run KSP. And not just the moon and back run, but the full game runs. And at a 6.5 hour run, it was just too long. I'll fix that when there. So now I need to switch back to Jeb, who's heading out to Duna, and he is right there. So let's do some science around the sun. Let's get our thrust controller. So that thrust controller also makes it a lot easier to land. I have a lot more control with the mouse than I do the keyboard. So now we're going to warp to Duna. going to do two things here. Get more science. And also get this intercept, which is going to be a radial out. And an anti-normal burn. Perfect. So now we're going to time warp to Ike. This is about perfect. I'll be able to just take straight off of Ike and get a Duna encounter. So now we're going to do high over Ike. We've done high over Duna, high over Ike. Ike is 50. So do our science, gather it, go retrograde, lower that gear, and burn like mad. So we're coming in pretty hot. But we also have a lot of excess thrust due to the TM glitch. So this is where I overdid that burn just a tad. But this is where having keyboard control really aids in doing things. There we go. So now we're going to, down here, do an EVA report, make a surface sample, and plant our third flag on Ike. Oh. Oh, shoot. Jeb, get back in there. So now we're going to save real quick, and then this is basically going to be a straight up, I'm just going to burn pretty much radial out, and then just go to stability assist. This is pretty much perfect to get me actually, that was too much. And too much again, but we'll fix it. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to go to low over Duna. Which is 140. So let's warp down. It's gonna be sea level, or whatever counts for sea level on Duna. So 140, which that'll get us near space. So now we're going to time warp till we get into the atmosphere. I'm going to set up a small burn. I'm going to do more science from the upper atmosphere. I'm going to keep that small burn for a while. Lower that gear. So we should be low enough, yep, to do low. See, that's where that tons of excess thrust comes in. Go to above ground level. And this is where the fine control of the mouse comes in. Okay. So now we're going to do science yet again. Get out. We still don't need a ladder yet. Una's not high enough to need it. I mean, gravity's not high enough here. Need it. Take that surface sample. And that's our fourth flag. Get in. So now we're going to... Yep, we still have... So we're going to fly to Moho. Yeah, don't want to overheat that stuff. And I just did. Somehow overheated stuff long after I quit accelerating. Don't know how that worked, but we'll go with it. Okay. I will just time warp till we get to the thin atmosphere, or even actually all the way up. Are we above? Are we in space yet? I think we are. No, we're not. So it's 50 at Duna. So we want to go in, which means we want to burn over here. So our better option would have been to take off at the right time, but this will work too. Okay. So there's our orbit. So we're going to want to burn around there. And we want to go to Moho. So we're looking for something around that ascending node right there. Not seeing... Oh, there we go. So I'm going to need to loft that orbit around. The wrong way. Get it where I want it. And that's pretty much there. I lofted just a tad too much. had it. Okay. So now we're going to do that burn. So warp to that maneuver node. Let's do this burn. So when we get close, we'll cancel it again like we always do. And probably burn this a little faster. So now we're gonna look for... We're gonna look for a intercept here real quick. There we go. Okay. So we had it, then we lost it. So get it back. And see if we can adjust this. So I need to make radial in it just a tad. I'm probably... Yeah, I'm wrong. Radial out. Okay. We have an encounter. So let's see if we can't clean it up a little bit. A little normal burn. No, that would be the wrong way. Well, that's pretty good. We'll clean that up later. Save that. Then we're going to go back to the Space Center again. We need to go to the astronaut complex and hire a pilot. Looks like it's going to be Tommy. And Tommy's going to get in the same ship again. So here's the thing. The ones we're sending to Dres and Elu don't need the ladder. They don't need a bunch of this stuff. But it's more efficient just to leave it. So, epilepsy warning again. Because we're launching on day 401. and I just overcooked it just a tad, but this is a pretty long journey, so it won't matter. So, using our infinite fuel thrust multiplier again. So IFTM. So let's lower that so we don't burn up. And then I'm going to rename this vessel to Dres bound. And I better just coast up to an altitude where I can nose that over and try to get something resembling an orbit out of it. Oh boy. I think I need to fix that. The danger of having so much thrust is you can really overcook it. So this is going to Dres, which is on an inclination. And we're trying to get something right around that descending node. That's pretty close. I think what I should do is yeah. And again, we're not going to use a home and transfer. The only reason to do so is fuel efficiency. Home and transfers are actually quite time wasteful. And care about time, not fuel efficiency. So we're going to make that burn. And we'll go ahead and shut that down, the last bit of the burn, and just eyeball it until we get an encounter. We had an encounter and over slightly. So we'll just pop around to the other side, gain it, and now try to clean it up a little bit. So it looks like we need to do normal burn. We'll try to clean it up a little bit more. Wrong way. Normal here. And we'll fix that later. So now we want to get back to Jeb, who is on his way into Moho. So now we're going to find Moho here. It's over here, though it is going to go around several times before we get to it. We're going to warp into its sphere of influence. Okay. So we're going to do science, over Moho. We're also going to fix our intercept. Okay. So now we have high over Moho science, and we went low. And that's below 80 kilometers. And again, we're going to burn like mad. Okay, looks like we're gonna be fine. Let's go ahead and extend that ladder. I don't think I need it for Moho, but better safe than sorry. So we don't have any shadows here. Those are on the dark side. The only reason we can see it all is because I have ambient light boost. Okay. Science. And get out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I needed the ladder. I'm gonna take a surface sample, do an EVA report, and plant our 5th flag. Oh, I guess the jetpack is probably enough for Moho. If you have any idea what you're doing, that is. So now we're going to time warp to the proper day, which is year 2, day 192. Yeah, 192. So, possible epilepsy warning again. I don't think so, because Moho is tidally locked, or locked to the sun, so yeah. Okay. So there we go. Yep. Triple checking that before I save it. And I just wasted some parachutes. It's okay. They won't actually deploy until I want them anyways, so... or can I just disarm them? I can disarm them. Let's just go with that. And I think I can put them back in a stage. Yep. Okay. Let's not do that again. So I want to get a little bit of an orbit going on here. So 80 is fine. So I want to get up to where I can actually time warp. And I'm going to warp to apoapsis. I'm going to also fix my inclination at the same time. So let's circularize this orbit. Fix the inclination. It'll just make this next maneuver a little easier. So I'm going out. So I'm going to take off on the dark side. So let me get the ship out of the way. So we're going to Eve. But again, I want an early intercept. Which means I'm going to need to adjust this orbit. The other way. That's pretty close to what I want right there. $53 No, I need to actually delay that. Because I want to do it right this any node. 63 days. That'll work perfectly. So if I take this too early, it'll interfere with my Dres encounter. And that'll just make things really complicated because I have to juggle both. So even though I could have taken that earlier time, it doesn't make any sense to do so. Now, luckily, Eve is actually fairly easy to get an encounter with. And that's because it's quite large. Sphere of influence is hard to miss. It's no jewel, but it... Okay, so what we actually want to go for is Gilly. And the reason we want to go to Gilly first is it's a whole lot easier. So I want to counter on the other side. That's close enough. I can adjust that once I get there. So now I want to fly the Dredge ship, which is right there. So this is the reason why I can't have things. So I'm actually going to make a hard save here. And the reason, because if I mess up the timing here, I could have to juggle both Eve and Drez, and that's going to cause some problems. So we're going to warp into Drez's sphere of influence with Tommy, I believe is who we sent to Drez. So Tommy is the last to take off. Yeah, I could have manually warped that faster, but at this point it's not worth it. So if the ship's too close to it, when it starts, it won't go full-time warp. Auto warp. To do science. So Drez is Drez. Let's get closer. Yeah. Let's warp there before we even do the orbit fix. This is very small. Okay, so we need to do a radial burn. That'll pretty much be perfect. So, up to there should be fine. So low science for Drez is 25 kilometers. And because the speed that we're burning in, we're going to have to do our burn before our science. Because we're cooking in at around 7,000 kilometers per second. No, not 7,000 kilometers, 7,000 meters per second. We're cooking in at around 7 kilometers per second. So we're going to do a good bit of this burn first, then we'll take the science, and we'll finish it. So unlike Moho, I have to manually pilot this, because Tommy is a rookie. But gravity's also fairly light here, so it makes it not too bad. And again, I have that real fine control. And quick save while about to crash. Well, I'm not about to crash, game. I'm not too happy about this hill. That's my only concern. So I'm going to come down real gentle. I'll stay on the ground. Stay. Okay. So gravity is really low here. There's no need for the ladder. So take surface sample, EVA, report, and then plant that Drez flag. Which is our 6th flag. Six Flags Adventure Park. Not a paid endorsement. Okay, and we are going to immediately go back to Kerbin. So part of my problem is I haven't memorized this whole route yet. So I keep losing a few seconds. Oh, dear. Too much juice. Okay, so I want to go sunwards. So yeah, I need to be on this side. So yeah, I'm going to have to do 2.5 orbit here. Okay, I gotta get above 10,000 where I can do a real warp. There we go. Okay, let's fix this orbit a little bit. Not too picky. Yeah, that'll do. So I want to burn on the sunward facing side, because I want to go back to Kerbin. So we're looking for around 190 day transfer. Set as target. And we're looking for something around the descending node. Which means I'm going to have to adjust this. That'll do. So warp to that maneuver. And then we'll burn it. And we'll eyeball it. And that did not work. Which means I need to loft it a little bit. It's the other way. Yep, other way. Should learn to trust my instincts. Okay. Let's focus on Kerbin. And get this close enough that I can fix it once I get close. So I'm thinking... Oh. Now maybe radial? Normal? That's not working. Nope. No. almost. Some of these can be hard to guess. But I'm pretty much... You know what? Let's just finish that. Perfect. Okay. So now I need to go back to Jeb. Did I click on the... I clicked on the wrong ship. So now we're looking for Eve. So we're going to warp into there. Turns out I probably didn't need to delay the arrival here, but I like having a little bit more margin than what I really need. Okay, so that's high over Eve's science. A little bit of radial in. Actually, a little bit more. And then some anti-normal. Did I overcook it? Yep, I overcooked it. Okay. We're now in the sphere of influence. Gilly. Oh, wrong way. Okay. We're gonna warp there. A low over Gilly is 6 kilometers. We're also burning in pretty fast here. Switch to surface mode. Do our near space Gilly. Back on the burner. Almost overcooked it there. So let that settle. On Gilly, things can be quite temperamental. Wrong button. Okay, so let's get out of our spacecraft here. I'm going to get back on it pretty soon because I have had troubles with my ship deciding to basically take off without me on Gilly because there's almost no gravity. And this is our 7th flag. Their ship's kind of dancing there due to phantom forces. That's the reason I really want to get back on Gilly quickly. Back on my ship, I mean, when it's on Gilly. So, I didn't notice which way we were. Yeah, so let's just... Let's just get out of Gilly's sphere of influence real quick. $8,000. Okay. So this will be easier just to get out of Gilly's sphere of influence. Forgot to save that. So now we'll just do a retrograde burn. Retrograding, right? Am I still in Gilly's sphere of influence? Problem. I am. Let's just get out of here. There we go. Let's... Can I focus on you? Thank you. That was weird. So I'd rather not have a polar landing, but it's okay. I'm gonna take a couple seconds here to fix it, because if I have a polar landing, what will happen is I'll just end up having to fix it later. So now's where we find out this will work. Because on Gilly, we can't... You know what? And that's the reason we don't manually time warp. Or at least the reason why I don't manually time warp. Let's try that again. Let's just let it do it. So the concern is we can't land on water or liquid, whatever it is on Eve. So if this comes in at the wrong spot, we could be in some trouble. And it kind of looks like we are. So we're going to try to fix this without having to redo all that. That should be about perfect. Remember, there's quite a bit of atmosphere here. So now that's our in-space near. So now we're going to time warp into the atmosphere. So here's the problem. Yep. That's exactly what I was afraid of. And this could pose some problems. because I really don't want to have to do this a ton of times. So let's see if that works. Because if I have to do this too many times, it's going to waste a lot of time. You know what? I could fix that. We're just gonna fall in. We have so much extra thrust, why not use it? So the goal here is we want to keep from burning up. So this is the reason why we have the drogue chutes. Because otherwise we have no way to turn around here. Many times you can land without needing them, but apparently this is going to be one of those days. Let's pop those drogues. There we go. So, why this happens, in particular why it happens on Eve, I will never understand. But this ship has a spinning problem. Only on Eve. So we're gonna hope that this doesn't crash. Okay, we're down. So, I also forgot to do all the science on the way down, because that was just terrifying. So we gotta remember to do it on the way up. And you see, we're also skiing across the surface, which is also terrifying. And Eve is our 8th flag. So we're supposed to time warp on Eve. I'm slightly terrified too. I also gotta remember to get that science heading up. So we're gonna save. We're gonna hard save. Because as I said, I am terrified to time warp here. We need a time warp to year 3. So, epilepsy warning again. Year 3, day 75. We're going to take off and head to Jewel. Means we're heading out, which we want to launch during the day. So, if it wasn't clear, the reason why I'm terrified, now one day late won't hurt, The reason I'm terrified to time warp here is because sometimes when you come out of time warp, funny things happen to your rocket. So we are going to go straight up for quite a while. But let's get that low altitude Eve science that I forgot to get the first time around. So we're gonna try to accelerate this some. Go ahead and quick save. The issue is it's really easy to overcook it on EV. Start our gentle gravity turn. Yeah, see, you're starting to get red here. And pretty much on E, by the time you know you've overcooked it, it's too late. Especially with thrust multiplier glitch. Yeah, see, I'm starting to heat up. And see, even reducing power, I'm still heating up. I'm going to completely cut it. There we go. As I said, on Eve, overheating, going up, especially with thrust multiplier, is, but even without it, is a real possibility. So I should be high enough for high science, and I am. So let's get that. So there's the two sciences that I forgot to get on my way down, because I was honestly just terrified. Even when I have infinite fuel and 30 times thrust, Eve is scary. We're on Eve, so 200 is fine. Okay. So now we're going to warp to Apoapsis and get into orbit. Which is really easy. Okay, so we're going to take off outwards. So we're here. Behind a jewel. So we're looking for about a 2-year, 50-day transfer. We're actually looking to counter jewel about there. And there we got it. So Jewel's quite easy to get. It's quite easy to get encounter with Jewel. Because Jewel is, well, large. It's easier to get an encounter with Jewel than Eve, and it's pretty much trivial to get one with Eve. Okay, let's do this burn. A big burn. Cancel that and do it by eye. So I already have an encounter with Jewel, sorry. I'm going to refine it. You see the sphere of influence of Jewel. It's very large. So I kind of overdid that there, but let's get into the rate. Let's get up first. And we're going to do radial in. Okay. So that is good enough for now. Go ahead and fix our fix our target. And let's see which side we're on at least. To do that. Do cross paths. So it's over here. So let's go ahead and switch the sides real quick. So again, the reason why we want an encounter with Bop is because it's always easiest to do the highest inclination maneuver first. That's close enough, we'll fix it later. So our next is going to be Elu. So let's find Val. And look what we just did. So how that happened is I must have done it slightly too late. So we have multiple ways to fix this. I could revert, but let's try something. So that is... So clearly, I think I delayed my Eve. No, that wouldn't have affected things. Somehow I'm getting here to Elu faster than I normally do. And I've lost... So this is a bug. Sometimes these things don't retain so this is going to really hurt my time. So I'm gonna have to figure out exactly what's causing that. So before, I think in the future what I need to do is before I'm not gonna be too picky with this one because it's only going one place. Okay. I do need to fix that. Okay. So for high thrust, I have to reduce my gimbal. So I can fix this, luckily. This is not what I wanted to have happen. So I think what I need to do is I'm going to have to play with exactly when some of these things happen. And I think the key is that I'm going to have to make sure my Elu encounter is, in the future, is not too early. That's probably the easiest thing to fix. But in the meantime, we'll just cheat it. Okay. That's 5 days from now. We don't have anything until day 333 of year 3. So, yeah. We'll do this. No big deal. Only 2 or 3 minutes lost. So early in the run, I would I would have fixed that for certain. That would just reverted. But we're almost 2 hours into a 3-hour run. So, yeah, live with it. And we'll learn. And hopefully do better. Did I pass it? I passed it. Okay. And hopefully do better next time. So we're gonna land on the dark side. I normally land on the light side, but beggars can't be choosers. And right now I'm a beggar. I'm begging that this run is not dead. So Elu, how fast are we going? We are burning in. So yeah, I need to start my burn well out. So low is 60, so we're definitely going to have to do our burn first. Because we have 12 kilometers per second to burn off, which is quite impressive, honestly. Normally, I don't get anywhere near that fast on this run. I typically burn into Elu at 6k rounds, so about half the speed. So you can see Elu is getting quite large in the windscreen here without time acceleration. So that's burned half of it off. Time work just a tad here. Okay, I'm convinced I can save this now, so. Get the near Elu science. Switch to AGL mode. Okay, and we're in surface mode, good. It switched for me. I should not have quick saved there actually, because I wouldn't have time to set this back up if it died on me. So hopefully that won't happen. So if this disappeared when I reloaded the quick save, which can happen, I probably would not have enough time, so I better get this right. So I really wish I had a shadow here, because I prefer landing with shadow reference versus the altimeter. Yeah, so it just comes up and meets you when you're not expecting it at all. So, a few versions of this run of my route ago, Val was on Val. But it's just not efficient to do it that way. Oh, wonderful. So this is the 9th. I'm going to have to live edit some OBS real quick, so hopefully this doesn't take too long. Oops, wrong way. Okay. Oh, good. My split timer went off the screen. Did I do think I did my surface sample. Yep. So that wasn't too bad a time lost to fix that. I'll have to remember not to set it quite so close in the future. Let's grab that. So we do a direct return. So that was not expected. Let's get a little bit of altitude before we fix it. Apparently this is a little more sensitive than I normally set it up. And that is going to wreak complete havoc, so let's fix that. Yeah, it's a little bit more sensitive. I was gonna rush to set up the Cal 1000 again. Yeah, that's way more sensitive than. So that should work. I can work with that. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? I'm pretty sure I am. Yes. Yeah, that's way too sensitive. No worries. I'll just do a weird backsided return. If the sphere of influence was larger, that would be a problem, but it's pretty small, so. So I'm looking for something near the ascending node. And instead I'm getting something on the descending node. It's 4 years, 10 days. I think that's what I want right there. Oh. So this weird orbit is causing me a little bit of troubles. So the reason yeah, see, that's going to be too early. So that is actually when I return from Joule. And I don't want to be landing two at the same time. There we go. Oh, no. Don't disappear. I'll just use. Once maneuver node goes like that, it's really hard to get it back. Accidentally clicking that little X and deleting it. Or one of the other buttons and causing all kinds of other issues. Okay, so that is four years, 190 days. That's workable. I can do that. The key is I don't want to come in at the same time that I'm coming in from Joule. Because I can't fly two ships at the same time. The game won't let me. And I don't think I'd want to try it. Even if it would. I mean, I think there's mods that kind of do that, but like burn together, maybe. I don't think that would even solve this problem. So here's the... This is a very sensitive counter here. I was setting it up. It did not want to stay. I'm going to get it really close. And hopefully I can get this set up. Okay. Whew. So, because how sensitive that maneuver node is, I'm just hoping I can get this just something reasonable without spending a ton of time on it, because I've already lost a ton of time by overshooting it. It's definitely not as good as it can get. Oh. Ah. I can fix it later. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so next thing is recovery. Not Sonante. Resbound. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. That's fine. In case I messed up my timings again, I thought I had this worked out. I mean, that's the whole reason that I removed Kerbal Alarm Clock and started doing real runs, is I thought I had all these timing issues fixed. Actually, I want to warp pretty much... Yeah, I want to warp pretty close. Let me keep an eye out. Nah, it's going to work out, because this is going to take longer and longer, and this is going to start speeding up. So we're good. Yeah, so I just need to fix that Elu encounter and make sure that I get that at the right time. Round and round and round the world goes. Side. I'm gonna end up about here. Okay. So we should have everything in our capsule. I did separate. Why aren't you separating? Don't know why that happened, but oh well. We're going to warp in. So, why that happens is that ladder. So I was purposely wasting a little bit of time there. I thought that maybe I could get by without doing this. Oh, wonderful. It's gonna make me set it up again. How about no? Let's just go normal throttle. It might also have something to do with the fact that I'm basically plowing into the atmosphere here instead of skimming it. But plowing in is actually more efficient in terms of time. So I'm going to also going to get this my next stage. Okay, that's clearly not going to work. So, the fact that I've lost this, again, 2 times in one run, is really irritating. So, I'm definitely not going to bother setting this up nearly as good. Just going to get down there and go full throttle. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to warp in. Basically going to go full throttle as soon as I come out. So this is how it's supposed to work. And it just didn't work this time. And then I eject that. Set my altitude for 750 actually. So yeah, that was a disaster. Once was my own doing, and once because this disappeared again. That's Dres recovery. So yeah, I lost about 1:15 there. So now we're going to go Jeb again. So I'm almost a half hour ahead. I'd like to be 40 minutes ahead and really kill it. So let's see if I can make that time up. So we're going to warp into High Jewel. I should have brought this back up before I warped. Should have brought the Cal 1000 Triple back up. Hopefully this will work. So I also don't like being down here when I encounter. I prefer being kind of in line with the rest of the planets. So, High Jewel Science, and then it's back. That one stayed. So the first ship typically stays, it's the others that tend to disappear. Oh. Because I'm doing backwards orbit. No, out. So this is going to be burning into, since I'm encountering it on this side. I'm going to be encountering Bop at quite a rate of speed. Oh, wait a minute, I'm in. I kept wondering why it disappeared. It's because I'm actually focused on Bop. Okay. Oh no. Ow. Ow. Okay. So I'm gonna be burning in Bop quite fast. Actually, I'm gonna... Oh yeah, I am encountering it just on the second orbit. That's it. All the way around. Okay. So, low over Bop is 25 kilometers. So I need to get high, low, and late. I don't mind telling you, I'm going to be quite happy when this run is over. It's starting to tire out. I can't imagine doing a 6-hour run. Yeah, so we're burning at 6,000, so I'm going to have to do the burn before. Because I can't get below 25 and then burn. It's be a little too risky. Yeah, so that's... I need to fix the texture blending here, because that was quite a strange pop-in. Okay. Near Bop Science. Yeah, Bop seems to change colors as you get close to it, which is... seems like some weird bug. That surface. And let's go AGL. Yep. I'm on top of a mountain here. Okay. It's been a while since we've done this. Been recovering ships, and I'll say failing to recover ships. So this is... what is this anyways? This Bop flag, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th flag. Gotta stop losing count. Oh, I'll probably messed it. It's probably not the 10th flag, and I'm gonna find out after this that I messed up. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now let's just get into so yeah, we're going to Lathe now. I really practiced this late in the game. I need 2 more, but I've honestly gotten tired of practicing Jewel for some reason. Just for some reason don't like apply the Joule system anymore. It's kind of strange since I actually used to love this system. I mean, it is the prettiest system. Joule, especially Lathe and Joule. Orbiting Lathe is just amazing. Once you get those inner moons, you can pretty much see. It's because they're all close enough together and quite large. You can visually see them all. So the goal of this is just to get to Lathe any way possible. And you see, it's not particularly... Oh, wait a minute. That... Oh, that's on a second orbit. Again, second orbit. I keep looking at the wrong ones. So I'm just gonna loft it a little bit here and try to get an encounter. What happened there? I feel like that should almost work. Then it just blows up into this craziness. So the reason this is... there's no way to really plan this out too well is... there's... Bop's location is kind of a little random. So we're coming at it from a very long trip. I want to say that there's got to be a way to do it. And if I thought about it, I probably could figure it out. There we go. We have an encounter. It's not a good encounter at all. Where is Lathe right now? I can't... well, that's the reason it's so complicated. I'm basically hitting Lathe right where it is on a future orbit. Oh, wrong way. And then I'll lose it that way too. Okay. Nope. So no matter what I do with this, I can't make this happen. So let's just make this burn and we'll fix it later. Because I've already wasted too much time trying to get this encounter, which is normally really easy. I don't know what in the world's going on here. So we're just going to do that. and then we'll fix it here. There we go. And this works out because Lathe is the only planet I actually want to orbit. That's too close. The higher. It's pretty close, but it'll work. So Lathe is the only planet I actually want to orbit. And it's because while Eve is what? 30% ocean? Something like that. Lathe is 90. So there's just no way to go straight in and ever get land. So I need to get into orbit around Lathe. And then I'll be able to... I still need high science. So I need to get into orbit around Lathe. And then hopefully I'll be able to pick out a landing spot. I'm starting to lose time, which is not making me happy. And I have a feeling I'm going to lose quite a bit here. Let's do that near science. And let's see where we are on this next orbit. I think I might be able to push it up to here. It's going to be my best bet so I don't land in the dark. Yeah, let's just... seem to have lost my markers for some reason. So this is where we kind of have to judge it, because can't use the trajectory mod, but definitely make this easier. So we're gonna go about there. Save that. Burn off some of that speed. So it's Tylo? Tylo. Oh, I can't see Jewel from here. How sad. So, I just barely got upper atmosphere. Almost forgot about it. Should be able to get lower. Yep. Add a time warp. So this is the other planet where quite frequently I have to use a drogue chute. Sometimes you can get flipped around and there's just no way to get your stuff flipped around. Got it. Okay, so here is one of the few places I need the ladder. But unlike Eve, I can jump from the top. So if I do that on Eve, there's a good chance she'll die due to the high gravity. So this is 11, and I'm hemorrhaging time here. So this is not good. Again, I'm going to make a world record here regardless. I'm just not sure I'm going to half the previous one. So technically, I messed up again here. I should have done my time warping on the ground, as it would have been a little bit more efficient. I'm just gonna... But I forgot that I changed that, because I used to do all the time warping in the air. I mean in orbit. And sorry, I forgot. Ah, there's Jewel. Beautiful Jewel. That's what I say, this is pretty. It's one of the prettiest places. It's just... I think I did it a little bit too much trying to figure out how to optimize the Jewel system. And now I just don't really want to practice the Jewel system anymore. Since I'm losing on my time here, that's probably what I need to do. So I'm going to time warp until Val is 45 degrees ahead of me. That means I'm going to have to work around... Getting there. Okay. So I'm probably going to make a fool of myself. And try some swag strats. And probably waste. This could save some time, but more likely I'm just going to end up wasting a little bit of time here. So I'm going to try for a Val encounter. Without a maneuver node. You know what? I am not going to do that. I'm going to throw out a maneuver node real quick. Yeah. So I could have done that without one, but I chickened out. Yeah, I'll have to remember. Trust my judgment from now on. And that one can be easily done without a maneuver node. Save a few seconds anyways. And right now I could stand to save anytime I can. Okay. So we're going to warp to Val. So low on Val is 90. So we're gonna take our science again. We're gonna warp down to 90 because we're not going that fast, so we can finish our burn after we do our science at 90. Okay. So our science at 90. Oh yeah. This isn't a bad burn at all. Kind of overcooked that burn ever so slightly. It's okay. Okay. So Val I don't need the ladder for. Next planet, Tylo, I will. So I believe this is 12. But I believe I've also completely lost count. So this time I'm going to go ahead and wait for the proper takeoff time, which is again about 45 degrees. So Tylo to be 45 degrees ahead of us. So if we maintain that at the 45 degree angle, when we're at the 0. Again, this isn't that precise. So unlike when around the sun, or Kerbal in this case, we want Jewel to be, because we want to go out, we want Jewel to be visible. So we're orbiting, we're on moons around Jewel. We treat them like our star. So 24. So yeah, I probably should have taken a little steeper trajectory here. Save some time here. Definitely should have taken a steeper trajectory. I'm gonna prograde this out. We're also going to do a normal burn real quick. So we're going to burn for Tylo, which is going to be about here. So the only reason I'm doing it this time is because I'm slightly nervous about the inclinations. That looks pretty good. Turns out it didn't need to be. Because that slight wobble in the orbit, that's the only real reason. Because Tylo is pretty much impossible not to hit. You hit it when you don't want to hit it, pretty much. So let's just go ahead and get rid of that, because we're not going to need it. Did I overcook that? I overcooked it. Oh no, I didn't, because I want to encounter it earlier. Okay, so let's focus there. Okay. So now we're going to Tylo. Where am I? Oh, I haven't exited Val yet. That's the reason. Okay, so now we're going to do high over Tylo. And then low over Tylo is 255. So let's just warp in there. That's because Tylo is pretty massive. As far as I think the surface gravity is about the same as Kerbal. Wrong. Oh yeah, we're near. Tylo's, I think, considered pretty much the hardest planet to land on because it has really high gravity and no atmosphere. So I believe this is 13. Which means we only have one more left. So that's Tylo. Again, I'm still losing a little bit of time here. So I definitely need practice in the Joule system. Which is exactly not what I wanted to practice, but that's the way it goes, right? Okay, so Tylo, I want to wait until fall is about 60 degrees ahead. Almost messed that up. And there I did, so it's a good thing I quick saved. More time loss. Yay. Let's go ahead and get this back quick. Tad more. Okay, call that. Might actually be a little too much, but we can work it out. Fix this orbit. Okay. So this is definitely one I need a maneuver node for. There's no way I would attempt this without a maneuver node. I have a terrible time. That's just too sensitive. Okay, well that's not bad. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so let's get over here and see what I'm doing. Oh, okay. So now I see what I need to do. Let's bring that down. No. It should be bringing those two closer. Not. Oh, it's because I'm dealing with the nodes. So let's just go ahead and add a maneuver node over there. Warp, do this one, second one. I try to cut these out as much as possible. I got most of this system down, it's just this all is kind of a pain. And that's because small planets I prefer to do as I enter the system because I have the most amount of spare maneuverability, way to put it. So I have more spare maneuverability when I first enter a system, and I just don't. But the Joule system has two small bodies. So I can't do both when I first enter. So I have to pick one. There we go. So, warp to that maneuver. Oh, it's because I'm still within the influence of Tylo. Oh, well that's interesting. I'm going to exit Tylo, Sphere of Influence. At the same time, I need to do my maneuver node. Okay. The fact that I lost time on everything else is not encouraging, but this is... Bop is really the time suck here. Or Paul, sorry. Paul is what eats time here. Small planets eat time. Especially when you can't do them on first entering. Okay. So now we're going to warp to Paul. So Paul is... Low science is 22 kilometers. So I don't think I'm going to make 3 hours. But I might make the half. I might half the world record if I make no more mistakes. Okay, so now I need to come in low. I'm not coming in very fast, so I can come in pretty low here. I'm going to do this manually with a save. Again, that weird texture fading also throws me for a loop. It makes me kill the time warp because I'm concerned I'm about ready to slam into the surface. Okay, so that's 22 kilometers. So that's space near pole. So now I just need to land, switch to AGL, go ahead and just warp this pretty close because we're barely moving. We're moving pretty good now. There we go. Pretty good. Luckily, ground scatter can't actually collide with it. It's only the stuff from the Breaking Ground expansion you can collide with, and that's a lot rarer. So, last flag. This is flag 14. So, EVA report, surface sample. That's Paul flag. That's 14. So, I know I'm not going to break 3 hours. Because there's quite a bit left to do still. Like, for instance, I still have to do 2 recoveries. I have to set up this recovery, do 2 recoveries, and then I have to unlock everything, which takes almost 2 minutes. Where's my 90? Oh, there it is. Not that it really matters here. So just get out of here, honestly. The whole goal around here is just get out of the sphere of influence. But I do need to retrograde that a little bit. Because I want to stay within the sphere of influence of Jewel until I make this maneuver. No. I don't want to maneuver yet. I want to add a maneuver node. Okay, so there we go. So now I want to get to Kerbal. And I want to get to it around the descending node there. And the reason for that is I need to get there before... Had it? Perfect. Okay. This might still work out fairly well. So I need to get there before Val does. Or Val needs to get there after I do, but I've already set Val up to come in late. So I need... Just go ahead and focus Kerbal. There we go. So I need, because I've already set Val to come in late, I need Jeb to come in a little early. And this is kind of a little closer than I typically like to do it. But I think it will be okay. So this encounter, I can already tell, is going to be fiddly. Because the maneuver node is really fiddly. I think I've already messed it up. Oh no, I haven't. There we go. So, anti-normal? Sort of. So I'm gonna have to fly this one manually. It's gonna take... There we go. So, normal and anti-normal are very sensitive to... If you're slightly off, you'll actually affect the others, the other directions quite a bit. So by manually flying it, we can get everything pretty close. Come in over the poles. And again, it's not efficient to try slow down when you're coming in. So I'm gonna do Jeb, recovery. Okay, so the reason for that is in case Val comes in first. I still not... Ah, there. I wasn't out of the sphere of influence of Jewel yet. So we're going to warp here. Yeah, so I just passed 3 hours. So I'm not going to beat 3 hours, but I think it's possible to do 3 hours. So this is Jeb here. And here is Val. So I think this is going to work. If it doesn't look like it's going to work when it comes in here, I will have to swap. I think Jeb is going to make it first, even though this orbit is a little bit more ballooning. Which means that Val's going to fly from here to here faster than Jeb's going to fly from here to here. But Val's starting behind, so I think it'll work. So yeah, we pretty much have just 2 recoveries and then upgrade everything, unlock the tech tree, and that'll be it. So I can't imagine that taking 41 minutes, so I'm definitely going to beat my practice run. This is such a long time warp. I have no idea whether I'm going to beat, where I'm going to meet my goal of 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 30 seconds or not. I would love to avoid this time warp, but there's just no good way to do it. I guess I could send someone out to Jewel immediately. That might be an improvement. I could send someone out to Jewel, out to Drez, out to Elu, and then someone to do the inner planets. It should be Duna, Moho, and Eve. See, that Duna, Moho, and Eve is going to happen so quickly. But you're still going to have this. You're just going to save... You're only going to save a little bit of time warp out to Jewel, not this long time warp back. And we're pretty busy while heading out to Jewel anyways with Elu stuff, so... I'm not really sure I want to add that much complication to this run. Originally I was doing it with just 2 ships, and I realized adding a 3rd would be more efficient. I'm not sure I want to add a 4th. So if I didn't say it earlier, I can't remember whether I did or not. One of the main goals with this was I wanted to bring this down to a short enough run that more people would be interested in doing full-length KSP runs. Because right now, pretty much everyone's just doing Moon and Back. Or individual levels, somewhat. So by rerouting this using the infinite fuel and thrust multiplier glitches, I was able to produce that a lot. My original goal was to, because those didn't exist yet, was to do something in order of 5 hours, hoping that that would at least get people interested, because at the time it was actually closer to 8 when I originally considered this, started doing this, so I've been routing this off and on for about almost 6 months. My hope is to get more people interested in running full-length KSP runs. And I think pushing for pushing for 3 hours is a pretty good way to get people interested. Didn't mean to arm those. A little bit of safety science there. So that's Jeb recovery. So now this is when I do Space Center upgrades. Because at this point I have enough money to upgrade everything. So there's all our upgrades. So now we're going to recover Val. That was like a 5-minute time warp. So much that it's might as well be story time with so we'll start telling stories, I guess. But I'm not a storyteller. So this one I need to fix, so I'm going to warp out here. Okay. I should have zoomed in earlier. So now I need to bring this back up. Hopefully it hasn't disappeared on me. It has not. Good. So to get this to go, I need to radial in. Okay. We're gonna time warp down close. Let's get this ordered properly this time, so I'm not fiddling with it as I'm falling through the atmosphere. Go retrograde. Prepare to burn. So I might still be able to salvage this. As long as I don't lose the science or my chute. And I haven't yet. Let's do 750 since we're over land. So I haven't lost anything that I can't do without yet. Should have done 800. Said I could not afford another mistake. I can't. I really think that this can be done in under 3. Because I've made at least that many mistakes. I've made it... I think this is going to come in around 3:15 maybe. And I've made way more mistakes than that, so... Yeah, it's because that thrust is way out of whack from where it disappeared and I didn't set it up right. So I'm just going to go ahead and set it to 800 just to be safe. I know it doesn't need it there, but it won't hurt. So grab a little bit more safety science there, though I don't need it. Shouldn't need it unless I've forgotten a bunch of stuff. And if I've forgotten that much stuff, I'm in trouble. Okay, so... that's Elu recovery. So now it's just the tech tree. So yeah, I'm going to make 3:18:30. So yeah, this is the last thing that has to be done for 100%. It's flat all flags, return from them, and then upgrades and tech tree, which is now. So there we go. 3 hours, 12 minutes, 34 seconds. That's under half of the current world record. So yeah, that's a new world record, all right. Just shy of 50% of it. Again, that would not be possible, at least not that easily, without YouTube user Mach56. Thank you for finding that. Danny2462, thank you for showcasing it. I would have never thought of it. So yeah, that allowed me to build on that and then build this whole new route, which has really brought this down and really makes this game what I think is a reasonable time speedrun for 100%. 3 hours for 100% is no longer crazy. Well, if you want to, stick around. I'm going to put a short blooper reel on the end of this. It's been a long journey getting here, and there's been a lot of mistakes along the way. So when I re-encode this for YouTube, I think I'm going to put some bloopers there. Enjoy.